Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I've bidden a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday morning edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. On the show today, we are going to be recapping the anything notable that happened in Friday's after-hours session and this morning's pre-market session. We have, of course, that news on Intel, which is kind of lighting the semis on fire today. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about anything our two guests want to discuss. And our two guests today are, first up at 8:15, Samantha LaDuc from LaDuc Trading, and then at 8:35, maybe our most unpredictable guest, Kenny Glick, will join the show. Hitthebid.com is his site. Joel, how are we doing this morning in the S&Ps?
Firmly into green here by 6.5 points. Took off right off that 6 p.m. open, made a low at 27.88, climbed into the 28 handle, 28.05 and a quarter. Now trading up 650 at 95 and a quarter. Looking at Bitcoin on the rebound, up $820. This is looking at the futures at 98.60, maybe absorbing all that selling from the Mount Gox dispersion last week. Crude in the red by 42 cents at 61.62. Gold in the red as well, 13.1720. That's down $6.80. And silver in the red by 13 cents at 16.48. Good morning to you, Dennis. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Oh, I forgot one thing. NCAA tournament. We are well represented here on the desk. Michigan State made it in, of course, my Wolverines. And I want to congratulate Spencer, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. The True Grit made it into the tournament, Spencer. Congratulations.
I will not be watching their game. Actually, I might watch their game, but I would. That's not the same.
Do you know why they're called the True Grit?
Do I want to know?
Do you know what their mascot is?
They're like the Terriers or something, right?
Yeah, the state dog of Maryland.
Yeah, they're golden Terriers or something.
Yeah.
Right.
The True Grit into the tournament is a 16 seed.
There we go.
And Dennis, I got a bone to pick with you here on this bet here. 2,800 versus 2,600. You're not trying to weasel. I'm not trying to weasel out. Are you? We just gotta make a decision here today because
there's no decision to be made. You're losing another steak dinner here today. We're 70 cents away on the SPY or 7 points in the S&P, whatever you want to call it. But you are going down in flames on this one. Do you want to hear? It didn't even take very long. I went to Disney World, came back. I just need to be here because the market went straight up that week. I go away to Disney World for a week. You guys all let the market fall apart. Market falls like 80 handles. I come back and it's straight back up. So it's all me.
But wait a second here. I made that basis the March contract. Okay.
No, that's no basis.
So it rolled over to the June. I did it based on the June. So until March, we're using the March contract until it goes off the board. Okay.
And then it goes out the board, the bet's just over, he'll say.
Yeah, it's expiration. No.
I see 280 on the SPY and it's over for you. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's basis the SPOOs, and I just
the SPOOs are bad to use because you got the contract rolls, everything. Nothing roll in the SPY, although they do have the dividend.
20 you're 975 away in my book until this goes off the board, and then we'll use the June.
You're losing it either way today. It's game over for you. You're done on this. You're gonna owe me 2 steak dinners again because you got out of that other one. What was it? It was like a Twitter bet that got you out last time.
Right.
It's ridiculous because it's supposed to be long-term bets, and you got me on a day trade on a steak trade. And now I got you. This is going to 280. It might even see 280 today. And this market is just hot.
Okay. And also just one more thing back to the tournament. My alma mater is playing Sean Udall's alma mater in the first round, University of Montana Grizzlies. So
I don't know if I'd be going against Sean Udall on anything. That guy is hot.
Okay,
he was the one that was preaching Micron at $10, and Micron this morning is at 56.07. And not only Micron hot, the semis are all hot here today. And why is that, Spencer? Enlighten us on the Friday night news that came out after the bell.
Yeah, Intel reportedly considering a hostile bid for Broadcom.
This saga is
Yeah.
getting
It would never end.
So you got Qualcomm, obviously, still Broadcom still trying to get them somehow, talking that they'll come over even to the U.S. this morning to try to get a piece as they want Qualcomm. And now there's rumors that Intel might buy Broadcom. So this is just getting really interesting here. Now, those rumors were pretty much squashed, though, later Friday night. Not completely squashed, but there was commentary from Intel right after the Wall Street Journal report. Do you have that commentary?
They just said that they're, this is, again, according to the Journal, that they're focused on integrating their recent purchases and making them successful for our customers and shareholders. So they didn't really say anything specific.
Didn't deny it, but they didn't really sound like it sounded like, hey, we're pretty busy right now. We can't chew on Broadcom. Is kind of how I read that. And Broadcom was trading 270, and when that information came out from Intel, it immediately fell another 5 points. It's fallen another 5 points here today. It's at 260. So it looks like there might be some smoke here, but it doesn't look like fire. At least the market doesn't think there's fire because it's given back significant amount of the gains from Friday night. That being said, it also said in that Wall Street Journal, Broadcom or other targets, I believe it was saying. So you are seeing a lot of semis this morning trading higher. If you look at the SOXX, which is a good indicator there, you can see it's up $155.8% there. Has some Broadcom in it, but also has some Micron in it. And Micron is up on its own stuff because you got Nomura this morning on MU raising their price target. Get this one, Joel, from $55 to $100.
Yeah.
Micron's put $100, or Nomura put a $100 price target on Micron. MU off to the races again this morning. It's up $1.51. Had a little red candle yesterday or on Friday, and then it's right back up here to the green. This stock has been an absolute monster.
What do you think of Nomura? As an analyst firm and their calls.
Well, they're influential.
Yeah.
I mean, they're I wouldn't say they're one of the top tier firms, but they're right there in the second tier, if not a top tier one. They're up there. They are influential. So you got to listen to what they have to say. And we should still do like a broker ranking or something. Obviously put like the Goldman Sachs and the JP Morgans in the city and the big guns up there, the Wells Fargos. And then you've got, a lot of other ones, even Lee Rink and you can go into the UBSs and the Deutsche Banks. Nomura is very influential too. So they're up there. So when I see them, I'm going to listen to what they have to say.
The reason I say that is because I know they've knocked down Apple a couple times with iPhone shipments, tracking that. And then also, I remember them NVIDIA, they've downgraded that or changed their price target a couple times. So it seems like they kind of are like the bad guy on the street, and then everything just comes roaring back. So that's just kind of my opinion on it. But looking at Micron here, 56.50. You got a seller there. That seller's been there since the 4 o'clock open this morning. So 56.55 is your pre-market high. I know that this is, I'll pull up my monthly chart and tell you that this is the first time it's been this high since September of 2000, and that was a bad month. It had a high of 82.94 and ended the month at 46 even. So go back, digging your dailies here to perhaps find a double top. But for right now, 56.50, 55 stands. Des, just wanted to ask you real quickly, were you in front of the screen at all when that Intel AVG?
Yeah, I was. AVGO blasted off. And it lights up all my filters. So I'm like, boom, what's going on with AVGO? So I'm noticing it seconds after. I'm like, there's nothing. And then you see the Wall Street Journal article come a couple seconds too. So obviously, they're getting it pretty quickly there, and then it breaks across the board. So it was broke. The Wall Street Journal broke the article, and whoever was staring at the Wall Street Journal page obviously knew that. And then obviously all your major media picks up the Wall Street Journal article, they resyndicated, and that's when you see. But you can see it right from the initial trading action. I mean, it'll trade right on that second. When there's news algos that are trading out there. When you have M&A rumors coming from the WSJ, the HFT news algos will be on it in a split second. So I'd imagine if you look at the tape, and I didn't do this, but I've done it in the past. If you look at the tape and you look at what time that article actually got published, I would imagine a split second after that article was published, It was already trading up. Yeah, the news algos.
Yeah,
they
there
read
was
the headline
nobody
and boom,
reading
they're
it.
gone.
No one reading it had a
No, nobody
blank
reads the
chance.
stories anymore anyways. It's
Yeah,
all
so
just
algos, man.
just headline trading. We're all just headline traders now. Do the stories matter?
I can't believe you said a person reading the Wall Street Journal or looking
Oh,
at
no.
it.
An algorithm
Looking
reading
at
the Wall
it.
Street Journal. These algos know how to read. So an algorithm reading the Wall Street Journal would be the first one to buy AVGO and pick off whoever's, and this is the one risk of making markets after hours. When you are just sitting out there in, sometimes I'll make markets, but I don't usually like to do that, especially after hours, simply because stocks come out with news, you are picked off and you are dead meat. Just like when I talked about my dinner gate there a week ago, and I had a few orders sitting out there, and all of a sudden, Cohn resigns. Well, any bid that I had sitting out there and I wasn't paying attention to is obviously getting hit hard, and I got hurt on that. So you got to watch making markets after hours. Anybody who's sitting there 254, 255, 256 offered AVGO is immediately picked off, and the stock's trading up at 270 almost in seconds. So that's the risk of making markets after hours. Got to be careful. News happens.
All right, we have a few minutes here to our first guest, Samantha.
Let's stick with the semis,
Okay,
and then we'll go to our first guest. But I just want to say I was looking at some charts over the weekend because you think this could light a fire under a lot of them. They've already had a fire lit under a lot of them, but look at Applied Materials for one. This was $60. This was a huge level there. That broke out hard on Friday. So you want to talk breakout trading here, not even worrying about, whether there's other catalysts involved. AMAT is on a breakout here too now. What do you think of that? Because you had the high back at 60.89 back in November. And then we've obviously been weak since then. We got way down in February, down to $45 when everything gave you that quick chance when we were down that 1,000 down points that one day. And everything has come right back. And here's Applied Materials at a multi-year high once again.
Well above its April of 2000 high of 57.50.
It's an all-time high for Applied Materials?
Yeah, it came all
the way. This is one that came all the way back.
Yeah. Yep.
So here we are 18 years later. If you held, buy and hold works. Buy and hold works.
Okay.
18 years later, you got your money back in Applied Materials. Woo-woo.
62.39. That marks your pre-market high. That's where you're trading now. Or actually 62.40 is the high. 62.39 last print. Is it bid there, Dennis, or offered there?
Applied Materials is bid at 62.10.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I just see the last, the high at 40 and the last print at 39. Who else would you put in this semi category? I'm not usually real good.
Well, there's just a million stocks you can look at. I mean, you can look at like a Texas Instruments, which we haven't looked at for a while. You can look at like the semis. There's so many. Just go stocks. And if you're ever in doubt, one of the quickest things you can do is just go look at the components of what's in the stocks, and then you'll know what all the stocks are. So SOXX, we're talking. The number one component in the stocks is NVIDIA, 8.92%. Intel is number two. Now, Intel is going to be a little bit weaker today because there are the rumors that they could be doing some acquiring. And obviously, we know they pay premiums when you acquire companies, and shareholders typically don't like that. So if you're scratching your head wondering why Intel's trading down today, it's because they're rumored to be maybe paying a premium for somebody else out there, and that is why they're trading down. But third on the list is Texas Instruments, 8.3% of the stocks. Fourth is Qualcomm. We know there's so much other news going on Qualcomm. That's its own thing. Micron is fifth at 4.8%. Applied Materials is sixth at 4.1%. Then you got Lam Research, which has been an absolute monster. LRCX, you want to talk about a stock that just blasts off into orbit on Friday, went up another $10 from 214 to 224. You go over to Taiwan Semiconductors, Analog Devices, Skyworks, Xilinx, KLA-Tencor, and then the list goes on and on. I mean, there's just a ton of semis.
This Taiwan TSM had a lot of highs here at the 44.50, 44.60 area, trading up in the pre-market. But this is an ADS here, so you're not trading the primary market. So just be aware.
Although I would argue Taiwan is traded so much over here that sometimes you think like and I've often said that. Can you still hear me? I just had a internet glitch.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know why, but my internet just glitched off and on quickly there because some of my software is trying to reconnect. So it was a little microsecond, I guess, that it went off. But there's a lot of, and even thinking you can say, oh, well, trade the primary market in some stocks, but some stocks just trade so actively over here that you kind of are. I mean, what's the volume on Taiwan on Friday in the U.S.?
8.3.
8.3 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's trading a lot over here too. Yes, some of these companies do trade overseas as well, and they are overseas companies, but some of the primary markets almost feel like they're the US markets. So even though they're overseas companies, I mean, Alibaba doesn't even trade overseas, but it's obviously an overseas company, but you're trading it here. So that's why Baba, and I always had a rule, I always like to portray the primary market, but on Alibaba, it's just traded on in the U.S. It's not even traded overseas, correct?
Hey, Dennis, that's correct. We got 8:15 guest here, Spencer. Who is that?
Go.
Yep, Samantha LaDuc. She runs LaDuc Capital. We'll be right back in a moment with Samantha. Welcome back, everyone, to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick, and we are on with a new guest, Samantha LaDuc. LaDuc Capital is her firm. Samantha, how's it going today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
You have power. I know you're in the Northeast. And you
As of 7 or 8 last night.
How long did you not have power for?
Wednesday evening. Storm Quinn took down a few trees on my property. Those took down a few telephone lines. So I'm just grateful because typically it has lasted longer.
So you weren't trading for the past 4 days? Or
I was sick of the dog, as you know, because I had to reschedule this. Right. And then I had absolutely no power for all of Thursday and Friday. So do you close on the weekend, by the way?
Yes. So you use Thursday and Friday to step away and decompress from the markets, or are you trading on your phone, or how's that working?
No, this was a step away time. I actually call this the lost week.
Okay.
It's kind of the perfect storm of the sickness and also the down power. But also my trading wasn't so great. I was very, very fortunate to be positioned for the first downdraft and the second downdraft, but not the euphoria of this recent bounce. So trading, power, sickness, count me out. I'm back today.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your morning market routine, right? We have our show from 8 to 9. Joel has his routine. Dennis has his routine. He's trading. What's your routine like in the mornings?
I review what's happened overnight. Obviously, the Asian markets. I look at any upgrades and downgrades, any movers of interest. I'm very interested in the macro to micro. So I am primarily a technical analyst, but I use it strategically. So I compare it against fundamentals and intermarket, and definitely macro, a little bit of sentiment, especially at extremes. So I'm looking at all markets, rates, commodities, global, and putting together my morning thoughts for the day. I write it up, I kick it out, I post it. And by the way, I apologize, my voice is back, but not to its full extent. So at least I'm not Charles Bronson's little sister anymore, but it's still a little raspy. I'm not quite this alto. I open my live trading room, which is obviously market hours. It's primarily commentary 9:30 to 11:30 and then 2 to 4. So it's very much the open and the close. I'm still working in the middle, answer questions, do my own analysis, but that morning sets the theme for the day of what stocks are particularly of interest to chase, how are the swing positions doing, because that's my bread and butter. I am primarily a swing trader. And if there are any changes, inflection points in trends, which are longer term holdings. Because I have also some asset managers that are much more interested in those types of calls. And those are some of the charts that I actually sent over your way.
All right, I guess let's pull up one of those charts right now. Let's pull up the first one you sent over here. I'll pull it up on the screen. What exactly is this chart that we're looking at?
Bonds. Bonds are dead. Long live bonds. So basically, this is my read on, we have an inflection point coming. I know it's very, the boat is loaded to the short side in bonds because of rates expected, higher inflation, all of that. But this particular intermarket analysis study is keeping me very mindful of a TLT poised to take off higher. And I think its expansiveness higher will surprise. Hasn't happened yet. Price hasn't confirmed. This is complete speculation. But if you take a look at the chart, and by the way, you have it up. I can't see it, but that's all right. It's really for a technical analyst to see. There are, of course, the arguments macro as well, but you're pointing to a chart. And by the way, my chases are very different. They can be a few days, a few hours. This is one of those trend inflection points that I keep on my radar because of the strength of some of these indicators that have proven to be very prescient.
All right, walk us through the second. You sent over three of them to pull up the second one right now. What is on this guy?
Well, was the first one of TLT?
Yes.
Okay. The second one is the US dollar. This is poised as well. And obviously, this is a very hard argument to make that we're going to bounce, especially, again, it's loaded to the short side. And tariffs, protectionism in general is inflationary, which is very depressing to the US dollar. Lots and lots of reasons to be short the US dollar, but I still see it as an inflection point here and now that we can have a pretty solid bounce. And obviously, all things denominated in US dollars make it harder to kind of stick with those large caps, especially tech that gets a lot of its international revenue from abroad. So whether this chart, which is long-term, looks very ominous to the short side, I think intermediate term, we have a solid bounce coming in the US dollar.
So you're watching all areas in the markets. Is there any area that you watch more closely than others, or currencies?
No, I look for patterns, and
okay.
The XIV chart before its implosion, I mentioned, was the most dangerous chart on earth in the trading room. And did I know it was going to implode? Absolutely not. But the point is, I look for inflection points in big trends, but I'm also going to chase Micron, and I have, oversold GE, and I have MGM because it's flying. I will move where the money moves, but those durations are smaller. I still want to be, swimming with the flow, if you will, with the major macro moves. And for right now, I think a solid turn is upon us for bonds, which means equities, risk off. I don't mean today, next week. I need the price to confirm. So this is backdrop. Does that make sense? US dollar is backdrop.
Right.
One that turns, commodities are going to be under pressure. I want to short copper, short gold, etc.
When you chase, Samantha, Dennis Stick here. I just had a question. What's your average time frame on some of your trades here? Are you looking out as a swing trader? Are you looking longer term yet? What's your average time frame?
Oh, easy. This for me is a trend trade is 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't do as many of those. Those are high quality, value plays, if you will. And also there are a few of them. There are lots of chases. I understand the adrenaline, the money movement. There are 2 to 3 solid chases every day. But the bulk of it is the swing trading. So those are usually using monthly options. The duration is several weeks, 1 to 3 weeks, up to 3 months.
So talk about some of the setups that you're looking at right now, maybe on some individual stocks. Are you like you mentioned Micron briefly there, and Micron is catching a major bid here this morning because you got Nomura up in their price target to $100 here this morning. Maybe you could briefly talk that one, and then talk about some other setups you see.
Yeah, Micron is. Did I move out of your frame? Hold on.
I think you're good.
You're okay. You're looking at your charts. It's a good excuse.
I am. I have 5 screens, so I'm like way over on the other side. Yeah, so we have, beautiful as far as a breakout above 44 for Micron, and it has just flown. But now we have Evercore raising Micron to 80, previously 60. Is it different? That's the big question. Not to mention Nomura, which obviously has been in this for quite some time. There's no question that this market for me it started on the semi revival, if you will. AMD, Micron, NVIDIA, they took off, and I mean broke out and took off and didn't look back from May of 2016. And I was actually doing a presentation at the Boston Investors Group at MIT in May and said, this is a solid breakout. The market will go with it. So until I see semiconductors actually turn, when you're asking about really important sectors or really important charts, I gave you some macro stuff. But when I'm looking for sector rotation, I'm looking for a turn in semiconductors to bring this market down, because they let us into this euphoria, and I think they're going to be the ones to lead us out. So not yet.
Yeah, Samantha, quick question. Looking at your site here, you like to use the fishing analogy.
I do.
Are you an actual fisherman or fisherwoman, or do you just like the concept of of giving people the tools and let them go out and catch their own fish?
I think that for me, trading is serious business. The analysis, the education, and the trading is very serious business for me. I wanted to have a website that was a little bit lighter, in tone, and it would be internationally kind of recognizable. Everyone at every level understands fishing. So it's been a lot of fun to have this kind of play, if you will. Review the catch. I have a live portfolio of closed trades for the public, and then of course open and closed for members. Yes, I'm the captain. There are lots of fish stories, daily fishing videos. This is a lot of fun as a writer to kind of play with. So that is the reason I have this theme, even if it's not recognizable to most when they go up there. They don't really know that I'm specifically an analyst and trader. They might be a little confused, but that's okay. I'm not actively fishing for anything other than really good trade setups and sharing that.
Real quick before we let you go, you mentioned you had 5 screens. Can you talk us through your setup a little bit?
Well, trading platforms, first and foremost, and then my charting platform, which is completely separate from trading platform, because I can do my conditional scans. I can do lots of my, watch lists and keep a very, very streamlined view for members, and then have an absolutely incredibly busy one for me that I can scan lots and lots of indicators. And I keep it very simple. There are no proprietary indicators. This is just solid chart pattern recognition, some big picture perspective thrown in, hopefully, and I will continue to just hopefully add some good support to members who, speaking of the women, feel comfortable coming into a room that is absolutely about figuring out together, and not I nailed it, but next. Trading is not a game of perfect. It requires a lot resiliency. And I think that, this is great that you give opportunity for folks to kind of tell how they work. And I appreciate that invitation.
Yep. Samantha LaDuc has been on with us. LaDucTrading.com is her site, LADUC. Samantha, thank you so much for the time today. Good luck out there, and we'd love to have you on again soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, gentlemen.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
S&P futures wilting here, coming off that pre-market high of 28.05 1/4, losing mid-range on the session here, which came in at 96.5, and gunning here for that pre-market low of 88 even. Dennis, I am going to give you a chance to get.
Don't get too excited, Joel, on the pullback. You're still losing this bet.
Okay. All right.
It's imminent.
Imminent.
Joel is going to be giving me is imminent.
So I'll be down one steak dinner then, right?
Yeah. See how he tries to do this? He's down 2 steak dinners then. He is so sneaky. You have to watch that, Joel. He is so sneaky. We got 4 minutes before our next guest. Let's take a quick look at imbalances that just came out here at 8:30. General Electric, hot on Friday, hot again here this morning. GE 288,000 to buy. We talked about this buy imbalance. We talked about this last week and a half. Been somebody scooping up some GE in the low 14s. Well, they're now in the low 15s. So somebody has been trying to call a little bit of a short-term bottom. Spencer, you're probably almost back in the money on your GE
Spencer, how you doing on your GE?
I haven't looked in like 3 days, so I don't.
You'll start looking when you start getting green in it.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. That's
what it's exciting to look.
Yeah.
You don't look when you're down. You got to look when you're up.
That's pretty much it.
GE up another 10 cents this morning.
Man, who was asking?
There's life there.
Who was asking me about this one? I took this, Dennis, this has fallen so far out of the top 10 components here that I didn't even have it on my front screen. Can you believe it? And I don't know who I was talking with in the chat, though, but we identified 4 consecutive highs in like from 1459 to 67. They mopped up that seller right near the open yesterday and took it into the 15 handle. So I don't know. Today is a little bit of a follow through, but darn, that would have been a nice little
2-day move. I like GE here
okay.
up to just as a day trade. I obviously own this in my long-term investment portfolio, but I'd lightened up before, and I still don't like it long term. I think you can test those 15. There's multiple highs over the course of February. I got 15.18. I got 15.23. I think you can see 15.23 today. So I think a 2-day move is in order here. So that would bring us up if we continue up, 15.25, 15.30 maybe, and then see what happens. But still, we always know GE is always prone to bad news. So you always got to risk when you're taking this thing overnight that they're going to say something to blank the bet. And that is what GE has continuously done with any of my longer term, or at least in the longer term portfolio, but even in the day trades, the overnight trades, that is. That it seems like GE will start to look good technically, and then they just say something that completely erases all of that. So I don't know if that's going to happen here again, but right now, technically, it's starting to look interesting.
All right. And, 15, I mean, it's not like if we went back down to 14, I would say huge institutional bids here. 15, no really daily numbers there, only the 15, 18. And, probably that if people pick this up at 14 for a shorter term trade, maybe are looking for a little bit more. But 15, 18 looks like a good target there. That was your February 27th high.
I like it short term, not long term. Jump over to a few other stocks that are on the list to talk about here today.
Wait. Were there other?
Are we getting these in?
Well, were there other imbalances first? Because you kind of mentioned GE.
So GE, they're pretty small. Square's small sell imbalance, 26,000 shares. Square's still been a monster though. Man, they're small, Spencer. I'm trying to scramble to see anything of note. Berkshire Hathaway is 38,000 to buy. I haven't looked at Berk.B in a while. Wow. That had a huge day on Friday, Berk.B. Obviously, a lot of things did, but man, value stocks back in favor here. Warren's not too far off an all-time high.
No, big day on Friday. Closed near the high, getting a little follow through. Keep an eye on 1324 Friday's high. 1313 was a former high. 1294 Friday's close. All right, another guest coming up here at 8:35, and this is one I'm looking forward to.
We should take a break. I feel like, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a break and grab Kenny Glick from hitthebid.com. We'll be right back.
Oh, I bet you though Kenny's ready. Should we try and bring him in on the fly?
We can bring him in on the fly. Should I bring him in on the
Yeah.
All right.
Bring him in on the fly. Kenny Glick. Let's do it.
All right. Let's do this real quick.
Get ready. He's coming.
This is going to be interesting. All right. I'm dialing up Kenny right now.
We usually
and let's see.
You got to warn him he's live so he doesn't do any cussing.
Yeah. That's why Spencer wanted to take a break.
That's why I want to take a break.
I know he's listening.
All right.
He's the one. He's listening.
All right. Kenny Glick from HitTheBait.com, Hit the Beta Radio is Kenny.
Yo.
Hey, Kenny, what's up? You are live on PreMarket Prep. How's it going?
All right. You guys got me on video or just audio? Because I look really odd today.
I don't see your video now. I see
your video.
I see
All
yours.
right, hang on a second. Hang on.
Let's get him up here.
All right. This is going to be interesting.
Is it me or is it you?
I think it's you.
Let's see.
There we go.
Baba Booey.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
Hey, Kenny. How you doing, buddy?
All right. What's up, man?
Oh, great to see you. Welcome to the show. It's been a while since we've had you on here, and you made some great bull. Let's just go broad market here. When Dennis and I we were out at the Traders Expo last year, I don't even know where the market was. You were like Dow 23, Dow 24. You might have had your Dow 25K hat on when we were out there. Little bit of correction here. Where you at now?
Still 29,100 on January 15th, 2019. So write it down. We're almost there. We should be there within a week or so. You know how the market works. But this time I got caught off guard. You know, the correction came. I was getting all excited, you know, writing out my list of all stocks I was going to buy on this dip. And it's over. So I'm just sitting here basically a spectator now, but just still buying the dips on, you know, stocks that get hammered on earnings. That's really what I've been doing lately.
Kenny, I did the same thing, and I had my whole list of stocks I was going to buy on the dip, and my stocks that were on there, I'm really kicking myself because I had like Micron on there, I had Square on there, and all these stocks I wanted to buy on this dip, and it happened so fast, the dip and the reversal came, and I was like, am I going to get a second test down there? And it never really happened, and they just blasted off on me, and all these stocks I wanted to buy on that nice dip when we were down 1,000 that one day, I did not get. So I'm sitting here, at least in my investment portfolio, disappointed that I did not buy more tech stocks.
Yeah, we needed a correction of the correction.
Yeah, that's what we've been in. But then that would have kept falling probably, and then I've been in trouble. So they don't like to give you second chances sometimes. On the
somebody was saying I got SQ dead wrong. Actually, I was right because I was shorting it while it was going down, and I still own it, and I still own it. So we got some $50 call spreads for January 2019, but it's all right. Everybody gets it wrong short term. I learned a valuable lesson that you just can't stay short for more than 9 minutes in this market, and nothing has changed. Like I said, and somebody was talking about the imbalances, which is incredible because you sell imbalances, buy imbalances at the beginning of the day. Square became a new buy for us that morning, where we came in that morning where they reiterated the story about the Bitcoin and how they're gonna, you know, possibly dive deeper into that. And the stock was gapped down on a sell imbalance, and it opened up and proceeded to go up 4 points. I think it was Monday morning, and we haven't looked back since. So I'm not too sure. I don't watch imbalances at the beginning of the day. More, I looked at on Fridays to try to play some QQQ or diamond imbalances at the end of the day, try to get some of those weekly options. But going back to what's been working, obviously buying the dip is working. But I've been looking at companies that report that get hammered, and within that day or within the next day, they all seem to start to come back. I have NTAP, NTAP, W, Wayfair. I never heard of the company before. I saw the stock was down, 12 or 13 points. That piques my interest. Then you had FNSR, which we walked in today, long from Friday. Basically, not any. I don't want to use too many generalizations, but most stocks when they dip, like Dollar Tree, DLTR, we picked that one up. AAOI, a company that's been getting beat up for years. We're in that one now, and it's still working. So yeah, still long the Alibaba, still long the SQ. I think Alibaba is going to be $1,000 stock 17 years from now. So, Spinner, let me know how it works out 17 years from now. I'll give you my home address, and if you want to drop me a note 17 years from now, we'll see how we do. But yeah.
Well, it's hard for the stock to go down when they can cook the books over there.
Yeah, right. Keep cooking the books.
I love the Chinese stocks.
An American spending spree. I think Bala's going to buy out. What was the list? Twitter. They're going to buy Twitter, Cisco, QD, BSTI, and they're going to form their first router, their first buffering erection, Bitcoin, blockchain company, all rolled up into one, and they're going to take over the world. So Alibaba still think it's going to be Amazon, but again, probably not going to happen today. So what's going on with you guys? Still dancing? What's going on?
Joel's tearing up the dance floor.
No. I want to move in to the cryptocurrencies. You just mentioned Bitcoin there, and I know you had dabbled into it a little bit. Boy, the fervor's really died down from it. Supposedly Mt. Gox was doing some big liquidation. You looking at those cryptocurrencies at all, or just moving on to other things?
I have a couple of guys in my chat room who were big fans of crypto, so I was just listening to them because he was into Bitcoin years ago, begging me to get involved, and I didn't. So we reconnected, and he dropped a couple of names on me on some cryptos that might be interesting, and he mentioned something called Tron. I was like, wait, there's something called Tron? I love Jeff Bridges. Let me get some Tron. So I felt like I was at the race. I was like, yeah, let me get like 200 on the Bitcoin. Yeah, give me 50 on that gold coin. Yeah, why don't you put 100 on the Tron? What's going on? Yeah, drop 100 on the Tron. So next thing you know, I'm putting the orders through him. I trust the kid. I had like $500 worth of this stuff. Next thing you know, Tron goes from, I think it was just under half a penny to 24 cents one day. On paper, I was killing it. And but by the time I went to go sell it, next thing you know, it's down 50%. Now it's basically down to, I'm only up 300% on my Tron coin right now, but that's the only thing I got good going on. I don't even look at the account. I enjoy trading options on Fridays. If you guys want to experience what cryptocurrency is really like, learn how to trade some good stocks on Fridays. Use some weekly options, and you can get paid 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times your money right there using, not again, these aren't risky, not risky situations that we're doing on Friday, but at least you're doing something where it's the stock market opposed to, fake cyber currency. And again, I don't want to diminish the entire cryptocurrency world now, but people that are saying that they're cryptocurrency traders. So this is my impression of a cryptocurrency trader. Hit the buy button. Please, God, don't go to zero. Ooh, it's up. Let me sell it. There's no trading cryptocurrency. Unless you can short this stuff and actually have an ebb and flow, it's buy and hope. It's really not trading. So I'm not really that, interested in this right now. I bought a few just for a goof, and I did well on Tron. I still got the Bitcoin, and that's where I stand right now.
Kenny, let's move on here to some of the big stocks here, and just wanted to get your take here on Apple. I know you follow a lot of different stocks here. Kissed 180 handle a few different times, being all-time high. Got beat up along with the rest of the market. Coming back here, now we're opening right into that former old-time, or still the all-time high at 180.62. Do you like to follow the big stocks for your portfolio or trading, or not for you?
Well, this is where I usually, I cop out by saying, if I'm going to buy Apple, I usually go with the Qs. For me, it's been the QQQ forever. So in theory, I own Apple, I own Amazon. Instead of me trying to pick the next Apple, I just go with the Qs and the diamonds as the core portfolio. But as far as, new and exciting, like I said, I just try to find these companies that get their butts kicked. And you mentioned Lam Research. Let's not forget the stock came out with a decent earnings report, and it went down 12 points that day and proceeded to go down another 20 before this monster move back up. That's what I look for. Good companies that get smoked on earnings. And if you go back before the correction, a big post. I'm going to start. Oh, by the way, I'm calling it the Gary Cohn bottom from now on. All right. We have started a new bull market because, again, in my opinion, is this market, it wants to go down. It's trying to go down. There are reasons for it to go down. But every time there's a decent enough reason to go down, it traps more shorts. They are very stubborn. They never want to cover. They'll add to their short before giving up on it, therefore making the market go higher and higher and higher. So now we have the Gary Cohn bottom. So as far as I'm concerned, I want to be long. I'm back in the diamonds. And again, I chased them, wasn't buying at the Gary Cohn low. Cause again, I was looking for the double dip, maybe even go back to where we came from in February. That would have been fantastic. Didn't happen. So now I'm using the Gary Cohn lows for most of my, the Qs and the diamonds. But other than that, sticking with what's working. That's another thing that a lot of traders go away from. If you got something that works, just keep pounding the table on that and, keep doing that. So I just watch who reports earnings. And then, if there's a big reaction to it, that's the stock I watch for the next couple of days.
And
like TV this morning.
Yeah, using the criteria. How do you define a good company, Kenny? I mean, because a good company has a bad report, but how do you know that good company is not, turning into a bad company? What's your criteria for that?
That's a great question. I don't look at fundamentals, and like I said, I don't even know what W was Wayfair. I look at a chart and I see how it's breaking down. If it doesn't break any crucial support on the hammering, then I look for it to make a turn. It's usually a 1 or 2 day process, as long as it doesn't break the prior low or the reaction low of that earnings report. It starts to build a base. Once it comes out of that range, that's when we're a buyer. And, we start to look from a different level where it came down from, and that's it. Again, I'm not really looking to own NTAP and W and Lam Research and, FNSR. I'm going to probably sell FNSR this morning. Again, I'm not a fan of fundamental analysis. I'm just here just to play this game, get in when the getting's good and get out and escape alive. And, if I'm going to own something, I'm always going to default to the market in general. The QQQ and the diamonds have done so well. Me trying to pick new stocks, I think I might have mentioned Mark to you. That one worked out pretty well for everybody. Let's give it up for Kenny Glick on that one. Thanks very much for playing.
Nice.
Which one?
You want to make fun of me on a stock? Man, that thing tanked about, 60, 70% since I think I was on the show. Well played there. Again, you can't get them all right, but trying to find the new Apple, why not just buy Apple,
Or the
so
Qs.
My default, again, is QQQ and the diamonds. And right now, we got a great morning going on. We got QD from Friday on the dip, and we bought FNSR on the dip on Friday. So that's what we came in long this morning. Obviously, we got the diamonds also, but right now, great morning. And back to SQ for that guy that was poking fun of me. Listen, I owned the stock, but I was shorting it against the stock that I owned. And, I offset some of my loss, and then I stayed short for an extra couple of days, and it didn't work. So you can't get everything right.
Kenny, I want to get your thoughts on AMD. I know this is one that you were very bullish at one time, and now it's kind of done nothing here for a little while there. You were early on the train making some money on AMD. Are you still trying to ride the AMD train?
Well, what I've done is gone back to what I used to do a lot of, is selling puts. If I like a stock and I don't want to buy the stock, I'll sell the put. The stock goes nowhere. AMD, every time it tries to break out, it comes back in. So what do you do in that situation? If it's going to go sideways, just collect a premium, as everybody's betting that it's going to break down or break out. If it sits there and does nothing, and again, AMD has weekly options, you're not getting rich on this trade. You could sell, half a point out of the money for a dime or two. But, if you go a week out, 2 weeks out, or 3 weeks out, or a month out, I've been just selling premium on AMD. I don't think it's ever going back below 9. So I've been selling, I'm got some leaps on them, sold at 9. Same thing I do with Twitter, again, but Twitter did break out. But as far as AMD, yeah, the day will come where it either breaks out or breaks down, and, we'll take it from there. But right now, yeah, dead money. What was the stock you mentioned? 20 years later, it finally got back to where it came from.
Applied Materials.
Yeah. I've owned Cisco for 22 years also. So
it's still not back.
After the dividends and dollar cost averaging, long-term investing, man, it's fantastic.
Dollar cost
actually, it's not me. It's my dad. So let's give it up to my dad. Big Al, Big Al, long-term investing, it does work. 22 years later on Cisco, he's making some decent money on that stock now.
I just want to reiterate the point that Kenny made about following stocks on earnings days, whether it's a good report or bad report. You really see, I mean, not getting down and dirty and trading it, at maybe actually that day. But a lot of times, I mean, if you go back and you look at your charts, great reports, they blast the thing up, maybe makes a high early in the session and comes back down. Using the close and those highs and lows from the earnings day trading activity really gives you a key where the big money is. They're moving around, they're making their decisions based on the fundamentals and based on the earnings. So great point made there by Kenny. Kenny, any shorts out there? Anything that you're looking at? Rob Hood wants to know what your thoughts are on DPZ, Domino's Pizza, Ann Arbor, Michigan company.
I don't even know that company still exists. Domino's Pizza. Considering I come from Brooklyn and live in Jersey now, who in their right mind eats that stuff? I mean, I get it. There's some pothead somewhere in some small town that has nothing but Domino's. That is the worst pizza on earth.
Kenny.
I mean, I live in Brooklyn my whole life. I got 900 pizza places around me. I live in Jersey now, which I thought I wasn't going to be able to find good pizza. I got amazing pizza, 7 different places in a 2-mile radius. But you know what? My son loves Domino's.
Kenny,
I don't get it.
No,
he doesn't smoke pot. I don't get it.
Kenny, I don't think you realize outside of like the pizza belt, like the Northeast, there is no good pizza. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I as a New Jersey native,
I don't smoke pot either.
As a New Jersey native who has moved to Michigan, I'm telling you, like it's Domino's or it's nothing. So that is how.
I guess. I'll tell you, I've never looked at the chart. I've never looked at the stock. Because I've had you guys know about my shady career as a stockbroker back in the day. We were bringing public the Domino's Pizza of Europe. Apparently, that's what they were saying we were doing. I don't know if it was real or not at this point, but we were supposedly doing an IPO of the Domino's of Europe. I forgot what the name of the company, but that was the selling point. And at this point, I really don't know if it was a legitimate deal or not, but it was coming out at $6 and you needed to buy all you can, Mr. Jones. And when it comes out at 9, we need you to double up on that position. All right. So fantastic. How do you want to entitle your account?
All right. 2 more stocks here from Jazz, and then we'll let you go. Boy, I just can't wait for the comments on these. The first one is TAP, T-A-P. Any comments on that?
Is that the beer company?
Yeah.
Yeah, way just too thin of a stock. I don't watch it. Again, most of the stocks that I look at are for trades. So I know TAP, I had a trader friend that just, he kept buying options on this thing, illiquid options on an illiquid stock. He was getting crushed. Really don't have, much of an opinion, but what was new on my horizon? Oh, by the way, I gave up on the VRX. We thankfully got out of that stock in the 20s. That one took a beat down. I'm in something, a little biotech, HTGM. A friend of mine was turning me on to this one. It's pretty active, HTGM. Like I said, QD this morning, we're in this stock and it broke out. If you want to look at a stock, this is what I do. This is how I trade and this is how I find ideas. QD is a perfect example. Look at that chart. Does nothing for 3 or 4 months. It finally comes out of that range. And there's, I call it, the exhaustion situation formation. There's nobody left selling that stock at 12.50 and 13. Really nowhere else for that thing to go once it broke over that 14.90 area. So we started loading up at 14.90 and 15, got paid, decided to hold on to a little bit into this earnings report today. And, obviously the chart told us that these earnings probably are going to be good. And here we are sitting here at 17. And, chances are we're going to sell some at the open here, but it looks like a pretty good breakout. And I have a 22.5 target on it. BSTI also, another one of those, another Chinese company. And again, I did well with Alibaba. So anything Jack Ma mentions, I'm interested in. So QD was one of his, BSTI, another one that Jack Ma mentioned in a call once. So that kind of thing. But, as far as TAP, Domino's, I don't like to comment on stocks I really don't watch.
Okay. All right, Kenny. We got to let you go. Kenny Glick.
No!
Yes, Kenny Glick, a comedian. Hittobid.com if you want to check out his site. Always entertaining. And Kenny, now we got the video. We got your shtick down here. We're going to have you on again. All right? Real
all right.
soon.
Oh, by the way, I appreciate you guys having me on. By the way, I think the website's down. We're rebuilding it to make it so when you log onto my website and you are a shorter, you get shocked by your keyboard. It's been taking a little bit longer for us to build this somehow, and there's like some regulations about it or whatnot. But the website's down right now. We're rebuilding it, and again, we were thinking about just naming the website something blockchain or cock blockchain or something like that. I don't know what we're going to go with, but we're thinking about changing the whole website.
Yeah,
Oh, God. All right, Kenny.
Fast enough to get that button.
All right, Kenny.
Nope.
Have a good one. All right.
All right.
He's gone.
It's gone. We moved him off.
He's gone.
He's gone. All right.
Man, you get the fine coming at you, Spencer, on that one.
Yeah. Hey, listen. If I'd known, the mute button. Yeah, it's a good call.
Kendrick mentioned that I was cracking up. One of the few people that can really get me laughing and get my my eyes watering laughing so hard. That's Kenny Glick. We'll have to get him back on again soon. All right. Well, that was just 20 minutes of the show there, Dennis. You want to get back to covering some stocks here? How about
over
upgrades, downgrades?
Yeah, there's some interesting ones. The analysts were busy here over the weekend. We did talk multiple times about Micron. Not an upgrade, but a price target raise at Namira from $55 to $100. They're raising their estimates, and get these estimates on Micron. They're raising their 18 estimates from 1060 up to 1080, and their 2019 estimates up to from 1178 to 1222. Say stocks are making $12 in 2019, and things trade at 56. That's a P of like 5. Or even less than that if it does continue. Now, earnings can be cyclical at these semis, but holy cow, if those earnings ever come in, and this thing does make $12, thing is still dirt cheap, even though it's had this incredible run.
56.55, that is your pre-market high. Good volume turnaround. It's only backed off 15, 20 cents from there, but that's my level of the day here in Micron, 56.55.
E-Trade, ETFC getting upgrades, strong buy at Raymond James. That stock has been a monster too, making new all-time highs. So RJ hopping on the bandwagon here. No buy the dip here. They're buying the rip too. ETFC.
And that'd be interesting to see. Probably good trading volume in January and February from the market activity. Let's take a look at some of the other brokers. AMTD, TD Ameritrade at a new all-time high. Who else falls into that?
IBKR.
Oh, yeah.
All-time highs. All the retail brokers. Hot.
Yeah, look at
Bull
that.
market, right?
Yep. But not in the S&Ps here, Dennis. We are now only up 475.
Yes, we've leaked 2 points.
We are going basis the March contract, Dennis. We are well under 2790 at 2788.50. We will be using 2800 in the March contract until it expires on Friday.
And then looking at Merck, it's getting upgraded at Leerink. The biotechs are not hot. We talk about pharmaceuticals, biotechs, anything to do with pharma really has not been able to get out of the doldrums there. I know in the last week you can say, yes, Allergan has come back a long ways from the low Celgene, but those things were just oversold. One thing buy the dip has not worked on longer term, though, has been the drugs and the biotechs. It's just that hangover still, with Trump saying ever since he had the his address there was basically, he said drug pricing was going to be a top priority. Getting drug pricing down. And this has been the hangover here for all the drug stocks. But Merck here this morning showing a little bit of life the last few days, catching an upgrade at Leerink. Full disclosure, I do own this one on my invest portfolio. I will say, though, $56, that was major resistance before. I think it remains major resistance for Merck.
And ask you about Schwab here, trading up 27 cents at 57.97. I can't remember. There was a big sale. Was it by Chuck himself? That was a couple of weeks ago, and that was just before the market melted down.
Maybe.
Yeah, and no, we had some comments in there about inside selling and this, that. People move money around for different reasons, even to align their portfolio. But here it is. I mean, it did have the dip. I don't know if Chuck brought it back at all on that dip, but making a new all-time high here.
A couple more I want to mention real quick. Ratings-wise, you mentioned TAP with Kenny, but their competitor Bud Anheuser-Busch getting an upgrade from Bernstein this morning to outperform. Ray J, you mentioned the E-Trade. They are also upgrading Switch, SWCH, upgrading DLR, and upgrading COR this morning. What else did I see? There was a couple more I wanted to mention.
Decker's downgraded a Pivotal, DECK.
TWX catching an upgrade at UBS. And then as far as downgrades, HubSpot. We just saw HubSpot downgrade last, I want to say Friday too. HubSpot's catching a downgrade from Evercore this morning, downgrading it to inline. And there was a downgrade also on Thursday at UBS. So 2 downgrades back to back pretty much on HUBS. But that was really it. So those are the ones I wanted to mention. That's it for our show today, folks. If you missed any part of our interviews with Samantha, LaDuc, or Kenny Glick, you can catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, or go to youtube.com/BenzingaTV. Thanks to Kenny and Samantha for joining us today. I want to mention real quick, the Benzinga Women's Wealth Forum is coming up now. It is next week, March 21st in Boston. To sign up for that event, go to bzforum.com, enter the promo code PMP to get a discounted ticket. 50% off that. So bzforum.com for the Women's Wealth Forum. On tomorrow's show, we have Nick Shaheen and also Gil Beta. He is the head of Comcast Ventures. They just made a pair of blockchain-related investments. So we will talk to Gil about how exactly they determine the good investments, the good blockchain companies from the bad ones. That'll be on tomorrow's show. That'll be at 9 a.m. But that's our show for today. Hope you all have a good rest of your morning, and we will see you folks tomorrow.